so we're ready to start here. Done some force analysis, just a little bit. Yeah. That's a fancy term for I counted them, more or less. Charles here has about 50 strength points sitting here. Kolorat, another 25 or so. Davu's forces here with Lefebvre, it's like 17. Davu has another 29. This is close to even. If I can get these forces down, it would be more than that. Historically, Davu got himself in a bit of trouble in this location. And, you know, it kind of looks like it. It's hard to tell who's in trouble, but things are kind of intermingled in a dangerous way. Now, most of the discussion about how the game is set up, etc., it kind of revolves around Davu is not exposed enough. And that may be the case, but I'd like to try to concentrate and do some damage to the French. Because honestly, if the Austrians can win here, it's not bloody likely. Because we got Nappy here coming in. But if the Austrians could win over here near Regensburg, they could actually win the game before having to deal with all of this long map. In general, though, the opinion is not only can't they, but actually that the whole game is kind of unbalanced against them. Which is fine. I mean, it's a historical representation. It's nice when games have good victory conditions that, you know, both sides can evenly match. But as long as the players are working towards the victory conditions, I don't mind if the game's unbalanced. It may represent the victory conditions better than trying to balance a game in terms of how people are actually going to play it. It may take away some gaming options. All right. So, somebody goes first. I think it's the French in this one. It is. And that was actually one of the suggestions, was to give the Austrians the first shot to even things out. I've been told that there was a rewrite of the rules. I don't know, you know, if it was specifically for this or for a later OSG remake of the game that maybe can handle this. The thing that worries me, and I don't feel like digging into that, is, first of all, I have a bound set of rules here. Replacing them seems kind of iffy. But the main thing that does is most of Zucker's games that are being published now seem to have more and more Chrome and little crap that doesn't really add much to the system, in my opinion. There's something clean about the system. And, you know, if there's some little modifiers that make it a little bit more historical, that would be great. But I don't feel like learning, you know, and working through a complete rewrite of the rules to match the modern ideal of what this is, especially if they're including cards and stuff. All right. So yeah, so the French are going to be going first. Let's find our sequence of play, which exists somewhere. There's a copy of it. Okay. And I don't think weather's fixed for the scenario. So let's find a weather table. And look, I brought dice with me. All right, it's April 9th to May 14th. I don't think there are any modifiers in it. So we just roll. And it is raining. Raining means we use rain on resistance modification, and attrition has a penalty. Okay. Find this again. Administrative segment. Look at the admin points table. The French are real close. Is this the French sheet? I don't know. This is the Austrian one. This one says French. Is it different? I don't think it is, so I don't know why I have... I don't think there's any difference between these two booklets, but I actually wrote out French on one of them. So they're within 0 to 20 because they're close. And the French get 4 admin points, which they add, bringing them up to 41. 40 is good, but 44 is where we want to be. I am, of course, loath to ever spend admin points because they affect attrition, because they affect all kinds of things, because I might need them later. I mean, I hoard fucking paper cups. I'm going to hoard attrition points, right? Okay. Organization. I think my forces are well set up. I may change that in a moment. And now, is there anybody that I really need to move? And the answer to that is maybe. I've got this Major General here. I really need to move him, but I can't because he's in a zone of control. I can only move him by initiative, and he can't move by initiative. Which leaves me in a position of, I'm going to be forced to attack Chucky. If I'm going to have to fight Charles, I'm going to have to bring forces down to do that. And I probably want to concentrate my forces and launch this attack here. So I think the initial scenario kind of sets me up in a situation where I'm going to have to make an attack that is rough wooded terrain, which has various effects on the battle. I don't think that matters much in terms of what I'm setting up because I gots to go there or I will lose that unit. How badly do I gots to go there? Well, I'm going to assume Davout can make his own way there because he's got a 5 initiative, right? Lefebvre, I don't assume he can make it there. The other problem, though, is throwing flanking forces in doesn't really do me any good. So the only important thing I have to do is get Davout into this hex because I'm not going to get Lefebvre over there. Flanking forces, the only thing it really does is it inhibits the retreat portion. What do I know about Major General E? That's a good question. I know nothing, but I know the setup, so I'm going to look here. That's not something I can just brush aside, and that's going to always be a problem in this game, especially since I walk away quite often, is I'm never going to... Oh, I wonder where Hiller was. We were supposed to look that up. I think that's Hiller. I can't read anymore. 0433. And no wonder he got bumped. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is it important that I move Lefebvre? I mean, it would help to attack this, but hey, I could save points. God, I'm horrible. Major General B, he's not going anywhere unless I move him. Do I want to move Major General B on his own? Let me worry about how big Louis is. Or should that be Louis? Because he's German. He's a little big. I don't really want to take him on, but I kind of have to. This is kind of my problem. because I extended this out here. Oh, reinforcements. I forgot about those suckers. I get reinforcements on the first turn. These come in during my reaction march phase. Good luck remembering that. But Napoleon, Von Damme, and Lannes would probably have a pretty good force between them. Where's Lannes? Oh, Lannes has nothing with him. That seems a little odd. Yeah, he's just floating around there. Okay, and these are all coming in at 0025. And I believe that's up here. I think they have to make a roll or spend a point to come in. I know if you get chased off your map, you got to. And oh boy, am I having trouble getting started here. Yeah. I'll be back. One of the aspects that had me delaying nearly the whole day, it's like, I did my work, which I pretty much had to get to, and then took a nap, is the worry that I have to cover Louis and this Major General here. Now, I can probably bust through the Major General, but Louis is kind of a problem. However, I wasn't taking into account Napoleon himself. Not Louis Napoleon. He can reach as far as here if he gets an initiative. Now, do I want to spend a command point to ensure that I protect, that I don't lose the game here? Yeah, but it's a 5 out of 6 chance. Oh boy, this is kind of my hellish situation. I am not going to spend commands here, although Major General D might be worth one. If he's in range, who knows? He is. So he's not really serving much purpose, but he doesn't have a lot of troops. Spending a command point to move him seems painful. The cav there might be protecting things. I hate the having to look things up all over off map. Major General A has 2 troops, or two units, spread the points, whatever. I don't know if it's worth saving, but on the other hand, losing Regensburg would kind of suck. Lefebvre is the interesting question. Do I want to attack E? I know the setup, right? I can go look for now. He's fairly potent, sitting on, I hate doing all this calculation, trying to figure out, and it doesn't help that I have to walk all the way back and forth. How's Lefebvre? He's a little bigger. Does it matter? I don't know. But he's Bavarians. Wait a minute. There's a special rule on Bavarians. Ho-ho. We gotta look that up. I'm trying to remember where that was. During April and May. I think we're in April and May. I don't know. I think that says April. All of the Bavarians must remain within Bavarian territory south of the Danube. Well, gosh. Is there some way of recognizing where Bavaria is? There's got to be a national boundary here somewhere. And all this to play an operational game that I know is just going to create headaches continuously. I think maybe this. I don't know. That's the Bavarian border. There's a lot of Bavaria on this map then. Okay. So I'm okay as long as, you know, I'm playing down south of the Danube for a long time. So we're fine. We don't have to worry about those. And we'll probably forget about them before there's any issue there. How much do I feel I have to move there? I don't know. So, being me, I'm not going to spend any command points. And now we find our sequence of play. And again, I'm taking a 1 in 6 chance that I more or less lose the game. But by not spending any command points, I can move Napoleon. You know, I get to find out about Napoleon before I make my Lefebvre choice. Because I probably have to drop him back if he's allowed to move, if Napoleon came. So we go to initiative march. Now, one of the disadvantages to marching Napoleon, or to using initiative for Napoleon, is I can't go beat up on Louis. I could probably hurt him, but I don't know. I'm not comfortable enough with, you know, how combat works and everything. I'm kind of thrown into acting, you know, having a plan very early in the game. Not a lot of time, you know, even though there's this huge map and a lot of time for the game itself, not a lot of time right now to take the best advantage of whatever's going on. But my knowledge, such as it is, of the Zucker designs is it's really hard to like force someone to a fight. They can leave, they can take a few hits. It's not that big a deal, I think. Okay, so let's see if Nappy can move. I think he's our most important piece. And we succeed. Now, he has units with only 4 movement points. Our administrative points is somewhere. 41. So I'm going to be on this chart. I don't know the strength points of my force. We're going to count that. This is always a pain, right? Artillery doesn't count, but maybe it does because the weather is rain. Okay. All right. Mud is bad. Rain adds 1 to the attrition die roll, but it doesn't hurt the artillery. Which kind of makes sense, except there's not a rain-mud combination. I think mud is... Yeah, see, the resistance is mud. I don't know. As long as it's raining, the ground's solid, I guess. I don't know. Tell them outside that. But we got to count Napoleon's strength points then. So he's got 3. He's got Vendôme with him, which brings us to 10, 13, 14, 15. And he's got Lannes, sorry. I want to call him Lannes, who is just loose. And I could have moved to go join Lefebvre. So I'm going to leave him. Now I got to bring him with me because he moves in the other stack. Okay, I think. So what was our number? I don't remember. Let's count again. We love counting so much, right? 3, 10, 13, 14, 15. So we've got 15 strength points here. That puts us on this line. And yes, it's this annoying. I'm going to be moving 4 movement points, and I don't think there's any chance that I can get hurt. Okay. We'll move to here. Now we've got Major General B. We can absorb him because we have Lannes with us. We can absorb him anyway. We need a die. Just had one in my hand, and I don't know where I lost it. There may be a +1 to this die, but there's a -1 due to the leadership roll, so let's call it 0, and we'll look it up if we need to. So we were looking at, it's not 8 to 10 strength points, what the hell? It was more than that. Okay, we count again. Funny. 10, 15. So 15 puts us down on this column. And we rolled a total of, we went 4 movement points, we rolled a total of 3. We got nothing. On a 5 or a 6, I think we would have been okay too. All right, so we finished that movement. Technically, we don't actually have to do the consolidation right now, but we're going to do that. And technically, Lon is not with us. I could take Major General B for 1.5, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to take Reed for 1 instead. I got to be careful I don't run him out of Bavaria. So I've added 7 strength points to that. Ooh, I can't do that. No, 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 no. Where is he? I don't remember. He was B. Okay. So I've got to rotate Napoleon to remember that I've moved him, because I've got to do attrition for the unit that didn't move. Technically, I shouldn't be doing it now. I'm going to do that. So we're still at this 42-7. I've got a +1 to the die roll. And I spent no movement points. The worst I can get is a 7 or 8, so no casualties will happen. So we go back and do what we did there, which is absorb him for 7 and put him back, because he's not able to roll for initiative. All right, so now we know we're safe there. Like, we've moved Napoleon forward. I don't think Louis can slip around. Who knows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, he'd have to do some kind of insane force march to move my thing, and it's not worth it. And there's no way around up here. Okay, so I can make a check for Lefebvre. Let's check him. His initiative is 3. He succeeds. We count his forces, which is 17. And all I'm going to do is move 1 hex, I think. I think there might be, or 1 movement point. I'm going to move him into the mountains unless there's a penalty for being in the mountains, which of course I have to look up. Because I think, oh, that's not mountains. I'm going to move him into the hills. A hill has no special penalty. It has a bonus for being affecting terrain. So I think this is a better move. And again, we were at, I don't know, somewhere around 17 strength points, and we moved 1. So that puts us here. 1 movement point means all the way to 7 to 8, we're okay. The difficulty with this is we're not going to have a command bonus for this attack, but we think we've got a lot of advantages to it, so what the hell. All right, and the final thing that we want to move, we might want to move this Cav, Major General L. We could get him in Regensburg. That might be a good idea. All right. Because I don't think there's anything horrible if the Austrians get around behind me. So let's try him. He gets to move. He's going to be moving 2 movement points to join Major General A. He's got 5 strength points of full force. I don't know how Cav works in these fortifications or whatever, but and here's the thing, Cav are kind of bad for your capability of like moving without attrition. Even, you know, they're fast. That's the problem. They're fast, so they can get hurt easier. Anyway, we have lots of AP. We have 5 strength points. We're okay. Moving a couple of movement points, I think. Sure looks it. Okay. We have to check A. I'm sure they're okay. They only have 2 strength points. At this point, we'll consolidate L into A. because L only has a half point here. So we'll move that there. And this is all taken care of. D, I'm sure, yeah, D was in range, so they're probably okay too with 1 strength point, sure. And Davout is our last dude to do, and I'm, kind of moving the attrition and the non-attrition movement together. Okay. So Davout succeeds. Let's see how, I'm sure he's fine, but he's sitting on a lot of troops actually. 22, 25, 35 strength points. Now I'm going to be moving 2 movement points. I need to get these guys in with me if I can. Well, we got to count that to make sure. Yeah, I can hold 9. I can hold whatever that Major General's holding. So we were at like 32 strength points, which we look up here. And with our pip, we can't get worse than a 5 or a 6. So we're good. So even though I move 2 movement points, and I'll absorb General C, who, maybe I don't just absorb him. Let's take a look. General C has 13 strength points. He's not moving. He's safe. Okay. So General C can be absorbed easily. It's an 8 and a 5. Let's make sure we're in command, otherwise we got problems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my 9 command points. General C comes off the board. I think we've moved everything. Everything's kind of tilted, which means I've accounted for its supply already, even if I am not that guy, but we know he's fine. Which means I've accounted for his supply. And honestly, you start taking more and more shortcuts. It doesn't take this long. You start to realize what the chart is, how many movement points you're allowed to move. Definitely saw that over at Napoleonic Bay. After a turn or two, you start just saying, I will move as far as I can for 0, and you just kind of internalize what you're able to do. Okay, I have gone through all of this, the consolidation, up to consolidation, including kind of all at once. And I'm showing that all at once in some detail because honestly, that's how I play it. Approaching the game this, early in the game, maybe you try to follow the sequence more carefully. Sometimes that really can really bite you in the butt if you don't follow a sequence of plays in games. But in this one, I'm trying to show you kind of how my shortcuts would work, because otherwise it's even more painful. I have to track all the counters, at specific instances. Consolidation's been taken care of. First player of the center of operations segment, I'd be allowed to move this. I don't want to move it. I might have if it got itself in danger. Bridge and redoubt segment, I certainly have not been sitting for 6 turns in one space where I can build a redoubt. I don't think I'm next to rivers I need to bridge. Although honestly, I could probably start building bridges out of Regensburg. Always, like, part of these games is all this, hey, you can sit around and build bridges and stuff like that. And it's like, I kind of feel like I'm doing something wrong by not building these additional bridges. But if you don't have a goal for the bridge, why are you going to spend that time? I actually can't build one out of Regensburg. There's no crossing arrow there. But I could build one over here, possibly. Again, I can't think of a use for it, so I don't want to waste the time on it. But I'll talk to you about it. Now we're going into the combat phase, and I sure as hell need a break. This, again, I won't need these breaks as I start to internalize the system, but right now, yeah, I need to get away from it. So we're on the Austrian reactions here. This is kind of a weird situation. I'm used to it from these games, but basically I can attempt reaction march with anyone, but I've got to take into account the penalty available. So I've got to look at every unit. So let's see if Maximilian can do one. He's got 19 strength points. And this is, you know, once you get these down, it gets easier, but this is what the game is about. Okay, so how far am I? I'm within dispatch distance. We figured out everything over to there is in dispatch distance. So we look at the amount and we have, wow, 42. Is that right? That seems high. Okay, that should be 32. Yeah, I didn't think they were at the highest level. The French, I think, are. Maybe I read 42 here. This is hard to. Yeah, the 37 for the French, and I got some additional. Okay. So we look here, AP's accumulated, that's going to put us on this row. Strength points, I don't remember. I got to count them again. 19, which will put me in the center here. I'm going to have a +4 to the die roll and +1 for the weather, which means I will roll a 5 at minimum, and I could roll up to an 11, which puts me out to here. I am safe attempting to move 1 hex, or 1 movement point. So we'll do that. I mean, might as well. I do not get the initiative. Now I have to roll my initiative, or my attrition, but I'm safe because I moved 0 hexes. Let's look at this guy over here. Now he's going to be using the 0 to 3 column. This is Colorat. And again, we're not going to go into anywhere near this kind of detail. Normally, he's got a lot of troops, so he's probably not going to roll 16, 17, 18, 21. There's not much he can really do. So from here, 21 gets me to here, and very clearly, trying to move will hurt me. Okay. Now, I have other options. For example, I can try to move Louis. If I can get him up here, that's kind of cool. All right. 1, 2, 3 to get to there. Assuming he can take the additional forces that Major General E has in his stack. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So let's count those too. 1, 2, 3. Louis can hold 5. So we're certainly okay because Major General E can't hold more than 1.5. So now we count the strength points. 13, 17, 19. And then this is, you know, I hate counting. I tell you. 19, and I basically have to move 3 movement points. So 19 strength points here puts me in that middle column. 3 movement points. I got a chance of making it. That fight has to be done. I'm not going to pay any price if I fail entirely. I'm going to do this. So I roll for my chance of going forward, and I need a 1. I don't get it. He has to roll on the 0, but we're sure he's okay. Roseburg. Okay. Here's where things get interesting. I just have to put him next to Davout, and Davout will have to attack. I almost certainly want to do this to Davout. Davout probably should have gotten out of there instead of going in, but whatever. This will be more historical. 10, 13, 15 strength points for Roseburg. Which puts me up at this top level. I'm going to make my check. He needs a 3. He doesn't get it. He's at 0, that means. I cannot possibly be made unhappy. Knowing this, the question is, does Charles want to face Davout? Charles could drop down, perhaps, and deal with Lefebvre. I'm not sure about zone-to-zone movement. I'd have to look that up. Let's see what Charles has. Charles does not have much. Hohenzollern is with him, though. And he has 6, 9, 19 strength points. Charles only has artillery with him, so he doesn't count. 19 strength points, I can certainly do some movement. And even if I can't go zone to zone, I should be able to get where I want to go. That's a woods. That'll cost me 2. And then 3. That doesn't sound bad at all. The other option is maybe I can just move there for 1. I'll have to look things up if we get a success, but let's make a roll because he has little enough strength points that if he makes his roll, he gets to get out of there. He has a problem though. He's next to Davout. So we look at the resistance chart. And Davout's got a 5 initiative, Charles has a 4. Five to 4. It's going to be a 2-point penalty. So now I'm going to need a 2 or less to get out of there because I have a +2 to the die roll. I do not get out of there. I'm not going to have to check. My attrition check isn't going to hurt me. Bingo. We've taken care of all the reaction activity unless there's a leader kicking around somewhere that I don't know about. We'd consolidate if the Austrians had done anything. And now we're at the battle resolution. Let's take a look at the first of these battles. I think they're chosen, honestly, by the attacker what order they're going to be resolved in. That's actually an important question. I should look this up before I put the camera on, and maybe I should do so anyway. It does not specify. I believe each battle is handled individually, however, in which case the attacker gets to choose what he wants to engage in first. So let's take this one. Lefebvre is attacking Major General E. All right, first thing we need to do is look in the woods, because that's what we're attacking. Woods is not affecting terrain. Cav is going to be halved for both sides. Okay. I'm going to need a calculator anyway. Depots, this one's beginning to die, and I don't know. Okay, so let us count up what Lefebvre has. We'll use purple for that because this is going to be the harder counting, and the purple one seems to work a little better. Okay. Lefebvre has 15 plus half of 2, 16 strength points. Major General E has 5.5 strength points. That's not going to stay. That just doesn't work anymore. Okay. I'm not sure how rounding is done. I just read it, right? Rounding up. So that's 6 strength points. So we've got a 2-to-1 battle here, assuming we're normal. It's non-affecting terrain, so we're going to be here. Modifications, no bonus point. No repulse, so there's nothing special. So we're just rolling on the 2-to-1 table here. And that's pretty good for the attacker. Oh, before I do anything else, I should follow this thing here. Everybody picks themselves a battle chip. If the French lose, they want a pitched battle. We kind of like the idea of a pitched because we're afraid we're going to get cut off here with Charles, but we think we'll win. So we'll take a pursuit battle. Now we roll and see what happens. It's a 4. That's a 2-to-3. Okay. The chit is revealed by the loser. Hey, I'm being pursued. The winning side loses 2 strength points. Lefebvre has to lose 2. I will take this off my infantry units. I think as long as they're off my units, I don't have to split them up like that, as long as they're on my track. But for the 3 points, Major General E gets to retreat. Extend the full number of hexes, cannot retreat twice in the same hex, fewest movement points, vacant of friendly forces, avoid enemy controlled, and be toward the current supply source. Well, that's down this road basically, because otherwise I have to go through here. So I go 3 hexes. All right. Now the winner pursues if he wishes. So we'll look at that. We have rain. I forgot to factor rain into the resistance matrix. We should have used the rain column of the resistance modification table. Well, I don't see that table. We should have been over here. So the results should have been even worse for Charles to get away. Okay, so here the active lead is a 1. The inactive is a 0. So we have a 1-point penalty on the pursuit. We go to the pursuit table. Pursuer's initiative is a 1. He'll be adding 1 for the pursuit table. The retreating force had a retreat of 3. So we roll a die. We can't possibly pursue. So Major General, we get no pursuit because we can't possibly. And Major General E takes the attacker's losses. That's going to be the floor to whatever he can take. And no, we're not taking Cav. I'll look that up in a moment, but I'm pretty sure it is still only off the same track. So that resolved that battle. Now we got to resolve Davout's battle, but I want to look this up. A little cheating here. Napoleon and Charles both were allowed to reorganize. Napoleon's fine, Charles not so fine, and I'll tell you why. Because Charles has artillery on his track, so he needs to get Hohenzollerns forces into his track. I'm going to just move everything up and leave Hohenzollern there as an independent commander in the same space that costs me nothing. All right, and I was right. The losses just have to be off a track. I did not have to take them off individual units. I don't have to spread them among the units on the track. Okay, so now Charles is being attacked by Davout. The forces have been defined. Each player is going to get his battle chip. Well, Davout wants to win this battle, I guess, so he'll take a pitched battle. I'm not sure that we really want that, but okay. And Charles doesn't really need to stand here. If I'm losing the battle, I want a pursuit battle. What that means is it's going to be very hard for me to lose a critical battle. This obviously was not. It was only 2 losses on each side. Okay. But I could conceivably win by small amounts a couple of the battles. We do have to keep track of how many pursuits were picked over the course of the battle sequence. So again, we got to count. We'll take a look and see what Davout has here. We've counted him before. 22, 32, 40, and half the cav puts him to 44. Let's look at the terrain. I did that wrong. This is wooded hills. Pretty sure it's halved, but. Forces cav is halved, rounding up. And it is affecting terrain. Let's look at Chucky. Chucky's got 6, 16, 19. Okay. And no cav. Interesting. Okay, 19 strength points there. That's going to be a 2-to-1 battle again, assuming. But actually, we shouldn't have counted yet because first we have artillery. Charles has 4 points of artillery. There are no die roll modifiers. On a 5 or a 6, he kills a strength point, which won't affect anything. He gets a kill. So Davout has to lose a strength point. We'll take it off one of these big units. Although, theoretically, I should actually be taking it off smaller units. I can always reorganize them away. There's reasons for that. Okay, and now we're on 2-to-1. This time on the affecting terrain chart, both leaders have a star, so those cancel out. There are no other effects. I get a 2, the attacker wins. He gets 1 hit that he has to take. We'll take that on a Davout piece. I just really don't like those +10 markers. Okay. However, Charles has a 4 retreat, which we have to take. What is our cheapest path? Yeah, this is an interesting question. Now, here's where the path of retreat must be the least movement points if the retreating force or spending movement points is before vacant of friendly and enemy forces. And I think there's a penalty to retreating through enemy forces. Yeah. And that says if they must enter enemy. So I think that ordering is wrong. I'm going to try to avoid enemy forces, which means this is my first retreat space. 1. I've got to avoid going through here if possible, or here. I'm not kind of going that way if I head down this way, but 2, 3, 4, I guess. All right, what about pursuit? It's probably not going to happen very well here. We're in rain. I think we're Davuza 5, right? And I got to remember my path of retreat too. Yeah, lots of things to remember. So active leaders of 5 versus passives of 4. That's 2 off. I need, look here. I'll be on this table, and I've got a +2 on it. I get a 5, which means I can retreat 2 hexes. That will cause more, or advance 2 hexes. That'll cause more casualties than in the other direction. He was here, I went here. So 1, 2. I follow the path. That kills 2 of Charles's units. Don't ask. Don't ask and I won't tell. All right. Now, is this a critical battle? And I can say, no, it's not. But we should take a quick look just to remind us. Losses have to be 7 or more on at least one of the sides. So that didn't happen. Which means we're done basically with that first turn. There'd be a consolidation segment if troops ran into each other. Okay, that's the first half of the first turn. Now, all of this seems like a lot, and there's no question. I mean, it is a lot, I guess, but it does move a lot more smoothly and quickly than it seems to. A lot of the reason it's taking so long is I'm explaining each step as I'm going. I'm going to step away from that. The main goal on this next turn, from now on, is kind of to explain the strategic situation, although I will, as usual, highlight into things. I don't remember if I went into this much depth with Napoleon at Bay. I think I did. I think I've stayed away from it. I know I did at least one of the, I think I did 2 more of these operational games from different eras. The 7 Days of Glory or 6 Days of Glory, I'm not sure which one I have, and one of the new Zucker ones with cards and stuff. In Poland, 1812, 1813 probably, I don't know. Those, I don't think I went into as much detail. This is sort of the core of the system. This is how it works. It is fairly complex, but you do get it down, and start getting the values. Start memorizing the chart well enough that you can make decisions without referring to it as much. You just know the strength points of your units, etc. But there's the potential for a lot of lookup for everything. You've got to count all the forces again and again and again. You've got to, look up and assuming you don't know anything, you've got to count how far, whether or not you're in dispatch distance. You've got to go look at how many points there are. This long map makes it very hard to capture it all. And while we're on a roll chattering for no good reason, the reason I picked this one up and started and made the decision to do it was really, what can I handle that's got a lot of votes on it? What am I in the mood to do that's got a lot of votes? And this was kind of the highest thing that I was willing to tolerate at this moment. Not necessarily my favorite of them. I mean, I love some of the other games, and I kind of want to get to Combat Commander as well, which, however, Combat Commander, I'm probably going to do more than one scenario if I can push through it. I have some issues with that. We'll come back to another discussion in a little bit. Alrighty, on to the Austrian turn. And let's make sure I'm doing the right thing. There's sequence of play here, administrative segment, yeah. So I just counted several paths, 2 to be precise, to here. They both ended up in the high 50s. It would be helpful to mark down how far, or at least which range, to have a little marker that indicated which of these ranges you're rolling on. But that's going to put me here. Like I said, the charts are the same, so I don't know why I have a marker there. There's no modifiers, so let's make a quick roll, and we get nothing. We saw Stupid. All right. Everybody is outside of enemy radius. I'm allowed to reorg. Great, whatever. I'm pretty much reorged. I'll do some of that on the fly cheating. Trust me. But what about over here? Over here, the question in this tactical situation is, do I want to launch an attack on someone, anyone? Davout drove me away. I could fairly easily maybe gather a force and try to smack him again. And try to take advantage of that loss. Or I could try to place myself by falling back, get away from those Bavarian troops, draw out the French supply line. I don't think I'm going to win it where I am, so I think it's time to fall back. That's the strategy I'm going to go with, in part because it's easier to do. I don't want to do more battles. Now, honestly, I think the Austrians do want to fall back. So let's take a look at the terrain chart for this. Primary river. Secondary rivers affecting terrain. It's got a little asterisk. Okay. What about crossing a bridge? It's affecting terrain. A primary permanent bridge hex site is affecting terrain only if the defender is attacked exclusively through bridges, basically. What about fortified towns? Maximum of 10 strength points are tripled in strength. And it looks like the rest of your strength points are counted. So definitely getting towns and cities have no additional effect. So getting within these defensive barriers seems like a good idea. What do I need to spend to move? Yeah, this is the question. This guy is going to have to go on initiative. These two I'm going to have to spend for if I move. Louis has just about no chance to get out of there. What about Rosenberg and Charles? What about poor Hiller? Hiller can probably slip away. The French force isn't down there. Probably not going to be able to get up and just screw France out of the game right now. No, he'll get caught and slammed. So I think what I want to do is I want to spend, I think 4 points on these 4. Charles has a pretty good chance of getting through, right? It doesn't affect initiative itself. It affects the resistance table. So that's 4 points there. I'm going to let Maximilian roll to see if he can move forward. I'm not going to move these major generals around. They probably don't have a lot of troops in them. B and C. I don't know. But they're holding the border. Those are, I think, Landwehr, right? Those are my Landwehr. So with them on the border like that, they're probably safer there than anywhere else. So yeah, it looks to me like I'm going to spend 4 action points, and I'm going to move things so that they don't lose manpower. I'll do the calculations and come up with those values. A couple of small chance movements where on a 6 I would have lost a strength point with, I think, Roseburg and with Louis. Now we have our initiative rolls. Charles will make his, I hope. He does. So now I have to look at what he's got, which is 17, ignore the artillery, I think, in rain. 17. I'm still here. I've spent points already. That puts me in the middle, which means I can go 2 to 3 movement points without any danger at all. 4 to 5, I'll have a problem on a 5 or 6 if I'm right about the weather. Yeah, I'd want to attrition. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3. He's got the good initiative. I think I can get him out of there fairly easily without a problem. Let's look at other people. What about Kolor? He's got a 2. Hey, he succeeds. Awesome. Let's look at him. He's got a lot of troops with him. 16, 17, 18, 21. And I'm not going to get to move him very often. Unless I get a lot of distance. So with 21 strength points on the 0 table, normally we wouldn't be able to move very far. I'm going to take some casualties to get him on his merry way, I think. I wish I could cross the river here at Regensburg. Maybe I want to blast through that. See, I don't think I can bust through that very easily. I don't remember that the cav, like the cav's on there and that moved, but I should be aware of that. So, yeah, let's try to move as far as we can. So that's going to be five hexes that we move, and I can count it out to begin with. 1, 2, 3. Do I have a bridge or something with me? I don't know if it matters. I do not have a bridge with me. If I can get within 26 of this, that's good too. I don't know if I am. 4, 5. I didn't think to count that. Let's see what my attrition is. I'm going to be a +1, and I don't remember how much I said I had. It's like 23 strength points. 16, 19, 21 strength points. Yeah. Okay, so I'm there. I'm on this table. This is going to hurt. I only get a 2. That's pretty good. I still lose 5 strength points trying to march away that quickly. Now, I probably didn't need to run that hard. So that may have been a mistake. Krenswell has this additional force with him, so I'm going to take all 5 off Teuffenville. Get that unit off the board. That was probably a mistake to run that hard. See about Maximilian. Oh, him too. All right. Now him, we don't want to take losses on. Particularly. He has 19 strength points and he's in range. So we're looking at, looks to me like 2 to 3 is the only safe movement range. I'm going to just push him up to Landau. Okay, are we done? No, the French still get their reaction movement here. Roseburg gets to absorb this. The reason for that, it's going to cost me less command points, and command points and casualties are not that different. So 5 on Roseburg, assuming he has room for this. 1, 2, 3.5. He has plenty of room. So now I played a little game of, you know, how do I want to define my forces so that I can advance. And one thing is, the more leaders you have, you can spread out and reduce your attrition losses that way. But that's kind of dangerous when you're close to the enemy. And I tend not to do that very much and to move more slowly instead. An enemy can certainly split up and move more rapidly if their generals are good. You know, Van Damme and Lon, yeah, sure, they could. You know, the Austrian subordinate commanders here, you know, they don't really help you much. I didn't have to roll. I could have moved Hohenzollern off on his own. And in fact, I probably want to get him down here or whatever, so he's got a command that's under him, but we're not too worried about that. And that's how you get these guys moving. You send a commander back to get them. It's not worth paying the activation points. Ooh, we wanted to count this. So we're getting pretty close. That's where we would be in supply, in dispatch distance from the supply source, which also works. I'm spending a fair amount of Austrian supply points, in part because when Budweis is taken, when that supply source is taken, all my action points go away. So I can't really count on being able to keep an effective line there. All right, let's do the French now. All right, I chose to roll for Napoleon and went down and chased Louis, and we're going to have a battle from that. Over here, Davout chose not to move. He has too many forces. He has too many troops with him. He could move a hex, one movement point, without that +4 guaranteeing he starts losing troops, but it gives him a chance on a 6. He would have lost units. Lefebvre I made a try for, he didn't go. But we still got 2 more to do, which is my reinforcements that come into this, Oudinot and Marmont. So for these guys, we see where they entered. That'll be this force. 0134. Both of them are coming in at 0134. Well, Marmont, that's not Marmont. That's Massena. Massena has 11, 18, 21, 31 strength points. And 0134 is going to be down here, right? No? It's down here. Oh, poor Hiller. I forgot about him. Let me, I was going to roll for him. Okay, Hiller didn't get to move anyway. So now I can slam into Hiller, I guess. And remember, this is the Austrian turn, so they're going to have to attack first. So what was my Marmont? Our Massena was 11, 14, 21, 31 strength points. I am in range. I can move 1 hex without it being a problem, so I can make the check. I do make it. I'm going to try to beat him up. So I'll come 1, 2, 3. Now that means I'm going to have to make a check. So I was at, and I maybe should have done the other guy first, 31 at 3, and he's at +1 on the die roll. So that's a 4, which will get me down to this column, so I'm okay. Now, do I have room for Marmont and Oudinot together? There's reasons for me not to stack them. 1, 2, 3.5. That puts me to 5.5. Massena can handle that. So let's look at Oudinot. What does he have? Well, he can certainly walk there. 15 and 6 is 21. I don't know what Hiller has, but 21 puts me down here, which means the 2 to 3, I almost certainly make it. So I'll roll to see if he gets in. I screwed up. I screwed up. It was +4 to the die roll. So that 31 is here. Did I want to walk that far? I'll redo it. See, +4 means I'm almost certainly going to take losses. How big a deal is Hiller? I mean, I can probably beat up on him if I don't chase him. So did we want to make this roll? Yeah, I forgot about that. So 31 puts me down here. And that means on a 0, I'm almost certainly going to die. So I'm not making him come in. Udno had less. He may not want to come in either. 15, 16, 17, 18, 21. Udno can go a hex without a problem. Second hex, he has some chance of a problem. So I'm allowed to roll for him. Let's roll for him. I don't have to roll for Vermont. I can keep him off map like that. I get to move Udno. I'm going to put him here, because if Hiller comes and picks on me, I got a good chance of being able to react. And now we got this battle. And Napoleon is being attacked by Louis. Note that I couldn't do that. I couldn't move up to a unit that wasn't already attacking me. I'm not sure this is worth it in this case, but we'll go down there and continue and pursue to that extent. I couldn't enter his his zone of control because he was not in one of my zones of control. He's not attacking me, so I can't reinforce into there. But I can go chasing him like I did. And I can probably get away if I need to. That looks to me like the end of this turn, which is the 20th of April. Put this here. I'm going to come back with a little rant. Because I want to answer someone's question, essentially. And I think that gives you a pretty good idea of most of the mechanisms of play. Yes, it took an hour, but, I think it fills things out a little bit better than just reading the rules did. Let's send this up.